Chapter 18 of the Holy Quran is Al-Ghaf, or the cave in English. I want to read out verses 23 and 24. And they say not of anything, I will do that tomorrow. Unless Allah please, and remember your Lord when you forget and say, maybe our Lord will guide me to a nearer course to the right than this. A few days ago, billions of people all over the world celebrated the dawning of a new year. As in line with the Gregorian calendar, we moved into 2014. And as is customary, millions of people across the world made public New Year's resolutions. This is when people make public or private promises to themselves to be better people and to change certain aspects of their lives. These resolutions are usually in the style of, this year I will stop doing this or that bad habit, or I'll give more to charity, or things like go to the gym and live a healthier lifestyle, etc. Grand declarations of big changes people hope to make in their lives. A once a year promise that many people break as early as a few weeks or even a few days later, and then don't think about again until the new year rolls around 12 months later. The most common excuses being, I will do that tomorrow, and the tomorrow never comes. Psychologist John NORCROSS researched New Year's resolutions in the 1980s, and he found that more than 50% of Americans made some sort of resolution. After 6 months, only 40% had stuck with it. When NORCROSS followed up 2 years later, the number had dropped to 19%. Even among the successes, more than half had experienced lapses, 14 on average. Still, we keep telling ourselves that we can lose weight, save money, and go to the gym. So New Year's resolutions tend not to work. They are notorious for failure, but people make them every year anyway. In a series of further studies, behavioural economist Catherine Milkman and two of her colleagues, Jason Rees and Henchen Dai, found that fresh starts do push us to change our behaviour. The beginning of a week, a month or a year forms what the psychologist Richard Thaler calls a notational boundary. With that, researchers suspect comes a sense of optimism, the promise of a new me, as Milkman puts it. To test that theory, her team looked at daily Google searches for the term diet over a 9-year period. They found that searches followed a predictable cycle. They peaked at the start of any given week, month or year, then gradually tapered off. The largest increase, 82%, above the baseline, occurred immediately after New Year's, rather predictably. Finally, the researchers looked at commitments on a website called StickK, which allows you to set a goal and contractually determine the consequences for failing to attain it, ranging from community sanctions to monetary payments. If I don't lose those £10, I've agreed to donate $50 or £50 to a political party that I don't agree with, for example. After tracking 43,000 people over 2.5 years, the team found that the greatest number of contracts, 145% above the average rate, were signed at the start of the new year. Throughout the year, each week and each month had a mini cycle of its own, with the beginning of the week corresponding to a 63% increase. Every week brings a new opportunity, Rees says, and people take advantage of that whether they realise it or not. Naturally, if you set more realistic goals, you are more likely to succeed. In a study that looked at the role of expectations in exercise, the psychologist Fiona Jones and her colleagues found that people with more modest expectations were far likelier to complete a 12-week-long exercise course. And once we've set goals, we're more likely to reach them by creating a firm plan. So, new research is finding that we treat certain traditional points in time as a time for renewal and new opportunity to change oneself. And there is a need to renew and review your goals and aims regularly if you want to be able to succeed. And the key to success is in smaller steps forward towards an overall bigger goal. In Islam, Allah has put in place many religious rituals to make sure we don't put things off for another day, but we do them in the here and now. The "I will do that tomorrow" does not work, as Allah has put the mechanics in place to make sure we fulfill our obligations when we should be. As Muslims, we have 5 opportunities every day to renew ourselves and to track our progress. And this is our 5 daily prayers. And the purpose of the 5 daily prayers is that throughout the day, not every Monday, not the first day of every month or the first day of a new year, but throughout the day, every day, we are able to prostrate in front of Allah and remind ourselves, carry on with the objectives that we have set for ourselves at the beginning of that day. Allah has also given us objectives which we should follow in the Holy Quran, and He has instituted this monitoring system called the 5 daily prayers to make sure we follow through and achieve those objectives. And the people who do this with good intent, spiritually their lives get better, and those who just go through the motions, complain about having to get up so early to pray, they will find that just like many of those who make grand New Year's resolutions, that they will fail. Without the proper intent, praying 5 times daily is pointless. And this intent works in all aspects of life. If I had not studied hard and followed my revision timetable exactly, then I would not have achieved good grades at school. Proper intent is the difference between success and failure. I could have made the most perfect revision timetable that the world had ever seen, but if I did not have the intent to use it properly, I still would have failed my exams or at best achieved mediocre results. Allah has given us this most perfect timetable in the 5 daily prayers. So we must make sure we follow it with the right intent. If you're a shopkeeper, for example, and you go for your morning prayers, and then when you get back to your shop, you rip people off with your sales tactics or your fake on-sale prices, then you will not reap the benefit of the daily prayers. You would be deceiving yourself, and worse, you'd be trying to deceive Allah. Our main objective in life is to become closer to Allah, and one of the main means of achieving that is by praying 5 times a day. When every day we try slowly to get closer and closer to that objective of closeness to Allah. And we achieve this by being good people. We try to become better people every day. And Islam teaches us that it's not a case of making grand claims and having unattainable objectives to make that happen. The Holy Quran in the last 2 verses of chapter 9 says, "He who does an atom's weight of good will see it, and he who does an atom's weight of evil will see it." Chapter 99, verses 7 and 8. We can do it by taking small steps every day and making sure we review those 5 times a day, every day, so that we complete them. There is a hadith which says that if you see a stone or small rock on a path or road and you think it could hurt someone and you move it, then that is a charitable deed. That is a small token of humanity and goodness, an atom's weight of good. And it's with these small steps that we can make sure we achieve our bigger goals. So, what new research is finding now is what Allah has already implemented in the lives of every Muslim to make sure we don't fail in achieving His objectives and our goals, and that we do not stray away from the right path. So I would urge everybody, don't wait for a new year to come around, or a new month, or even the start of a new week. As Muslims, we have the chance every single day to renew ourselves and make ourselves better people. To be closer to Allah, we should be everybody's ultimate goal.